the Italian Football Podcast.
Hello everybody and welcome to the Italian Football Podcast, the official podcast of Football Italia. I'm Carlo Garganese. Today we are continuing our Mercato Deep Dive series where we go through all the major clubs in Serie A and outline their transfer plans for the summer. Today we are doing Juventus, and to help us do that, I'm delighted to welcome onto the show one of the best Juventus transfer journalists around, Mirko Di Natale. Mirko works for tuttojuve.com and is the host of Radio Bianconera. Mirko, thank you so much for joining us. How are you doing?
Ciao guys, nice to meet you again, and I hope fine. I'm ready for this podcast, and thank you for your invitation.
Yeah, thank you. It's a big pleasure for us to have you on. So it's going to be quite a busy one because Juventus have already been very active in the Mercato. They have a new manager, Thiago Motta. They have already signed Douglas Luiz, Michele Di Gregorio, Khephren Thuram. Then we have, in terms of players being sold, Enzo Barrenechea, Samuele Lilling Jr., Coni De Winter, Caio George, Felix Correa, Moiso Ken, and of course, Alexandro and Adrien Rabiot have already left at the end of their contracts. So what we will do to start with is go through the other players who could leave Juventus, and then we will look at the players who Juventus could still sign.
Great. Ciao Mirko, this is Nima, and thank you again for joining us. I mean, let's start and work our way through the Juventus squad. Let's start with the goalkeeper. Wojciech Szczęsny, Michele Di Gregorio has been unveiled as the new number one. Szczęsny is going to leave Juve. He's been in talks with Al Nassr, Cristiano Ronaldo's team in Saudi Arabia. How close is this transfer to being done?
Ciao Nima, it's a great pleasure to speak with you. No, I haven't any more news on Szczęsny Al Nassr. I speak a few weeks ago. I learned that the deal had become complicated, and this is due to the fact that the Al Nassr haven't sent a real offer for 5-6 millions that want Juventus. They reached an agreement with Wojciech Szczęsny for 2 years of contract to 19 millions for a year. And perhaps maybe they hoped that Juventus would let Tech leave for free agent, okay? But at least today this will not happen. And I know that the parties are finding solution. Szczęsny leave surely Juventus in every case.
Okay. That's interesting. Let's looking at the defense. Dean Huijsen, is he for sale, and how much do Juventus want for him?
At least 40 million. This is the request for Juventus for him.
Okay, so which clubs are interested? We've heard of PSG. Is that true?
Surely PSG, that they have the contacts in last days with the entourage of Hausen, his camp. But there are many other clubs interested, as the Bayern München in Germany, Leipzig, Stuttgart, BVB, Dortmund, and in England, the last club have requested information on Hausen is Aston Villa. Also Liverpool and Newcastle are interested to guys. There are many other clubs, also Atalanta, but Atalanta in this moment is for Atalanta isn't the hot option in defense.
What about could he be an option to be inserted for the Atalanta deal for Koopmeiners?
No, I don't believe this because he's not the hot option for Atalanta, and Atalanta for Koopmeiners want only cash, only 60, at least 60 million for the players.
What about Federico Gatti? Is he for sale, and has there been any offers for him? How much do Juve want?
No, Gatti is not for sale in this moment. I know that Everton and Newcastle have asked information for him in the last weeks, but there is no offer on the table of Juventus. Juventus are asking, in the case, could be asking, sorry, around 25-30 millions for his defense.
What about Mattia De Sciglio and Daniele Rugani? Are they both on the market, and is there any interest in them?
Matteo De Sciglio is out 100%. Okay, I'm surely that De Sciglio leave Juventus this year. The percentual for Rugani is a little lower. Rugani can only leave if will arrive an offer for 5-6 million. In my information in this moment, from information in my on my end in this moment, there isn't a club further ahead for it. No clubs to close the signing of Rugani in this moment.
Okay. What about Thiago Jaló? What's the plans there? Will he stay, or will he be sold or loaned out? What's the plans?
Thiago Jaló could stay at Juventus from my information at 2 weeks ago, but someone has to stay to play next season. Otherwise, I'm a good candidate for the
I was
role.
going to say you can start.
I'm experienced. I'm 32 to 2 weeks ago. I'm very experienced. I am very good to the role, and if Motta won't, I am available for for the role.
Well, you're a fantastic dancer. I've seen on WhatsApp when you put on stories, you do fantastic dance moves.
Well, probably be better than Weston McKennie. So let's move on to the midfield now.
Another good dancer, McKennie.
Yes.
Another good dancer.
Good at dancing, not so good at good football. That's me joking, of course. So Weston McKennie, he rejected a move to Aston Villa as part of the swap deal for Douglas Luiz. Instead, we saw that Barrenechea was inserted there as well, along with Ealing Jr. But Juventus still want to sell him. So is there any interest from other clubs right now for McKennie? And again, how much do Juventus want in order to sell him?
Yes, I can confirm that McKennie is out of Juventus plans in this moment. And for the right offer, around 20-25 millions, or 20 more bonus, around 25 millions. The same. I think that Juventus could be very happy to sell him. Real offers in this moment, no. And I know that the parties are working about this possible deal. The only club that I have very real interest that I know are Fenerbahce. Fenerbahce are asking different Juventus players, for example McKennie, Filip Kostic, maybe Artur Melo. Could be a good chance for Fenerbahce. That 3 players, but in this moment, no offers.
And you mentioned there Filip Kostic. We know that Kostic is for sale. Other than Fenerbahce, is there any other clubs that are interested in him? And again, how much do Juve want for Kostic?
For Kostic, I think 10 millions. 8-10 millions. Surely, I know that Crystal Palace in Premier League have interest because his actual coach Glasner that he trained Philip in Eintracht 2 or 3 years ago, and could be interested to convince Philip to accept the destination. But in this moment, also McKennie and also Kostic no offers for him.
And Arthur Melo, again, you said that there's interest from Fenerbahce. What do you think will happen with Arthur Melo? Because Juventus have found it very difficult to sell him in the last years. He's on a very big contract. He has a very, well, until recently, he's had a very high, what we call amortized value on his contract because Juventus spent so much to buy him. Do you think that Juventus will be able to sell him, or do you think it's going to be another loan deal again this summer?
It's very difficult. Juventus values him at 50 million, and it's very difficult today that the one club in Europe could be offered this price for buy him. Juventus values only the sell, no loan, and if there is another problem in my opinion. Not simply the request of Juventus 50 millions, but Arthur earns 4 millions more bonus to close the 5 millions to year, and Arthur has to reduce his salary because Roma, Napoli in Italy, because the other clubs in France, in Turkey, also Everton and Newcastle in Premier League. Surely in Italy nobody could be accepted to pay these earns. Maybe in Premier League, but Everton and Newcastle are only interesting in this moment, and on offers. It's very difficult for me. For this, I think the name of Arthur could be included in some swap with other clubs. For example, Fenerbahce.
Yeah, for sure. A couple of Juventus's Italian players, starting off Fabio Miretti. Is there a chance that Miretti could leave, or maybe be inserted into like Arthur, into a swap deal to sign another player?
Miretti in this moment is a bit on standby because there is the chance that he could leave on loan Juventus, but we will then have to see what the Juventus midfield will be like. I know that there are many clubs in Italy that want Miretti, but the club I had, the favorite club in this moment, are Genoa. Genoa are pushing hard in the last weeks and are very, very interested. We know that Juventus and Genoa are always good business. The Winter, for example, Dragujin, Cambiaso, and I think that Miretti could be the name that Juventus could be used to arrive to other players. Not Frendrup, not more, but Arthur Gudmundsson. Gudmundsson is appreciated to Tottenham, Inter, Roma in Italy, but for my information, Juventus have not the door closed for him, and I think that Juventus could be use Miretti to arrive Gudmundsson, especially if Koopmeiners doesn't arrive in this mercato. But I repeat, the first name in this case always Koopmeiners.
That's very interesting about Gudmundsson. We'll come back to that afterwards. Manuel Locatelli. There has been some reports recently that Locatelli could be sacrificed. There's been talk about Roberto De Zerbi, who's now the new manager of Marseille. They work together at Sassuolo, that he could be interested again. Is there any truth to the De Zerbi links with Locatelli?
Locatelli's rumors from last week's to be denied for me to every parts that I contacted last days. I think the same words apply to Locatelli, which are also correct for other players. Ovvero, the player remains in Juventus, could be stay at Juventus, but I think that he could be leave for an offer really, really important. But in this moment, Juventus have not offer for Locatelli, only interest. And another thing that I could have for me with Thiago Motta, with the new coach of Juventus, it will be another player. I have this feeling. With Allegri, I haven't never seen the Locatelli of Sassuolo. And Locatelli have lost the national team, the Euros 2024, for a bad season with Allegri. With another coach, I have the feelings that Locatelli could be a little more better than last year.
Just one follow-up question on Locatelli about the Euros, Euro 2024. Obviously, that was the big controversy, was that Spalletti didn't call up Locatelli. How did Locatelli react to that, him not being called up? Was he very upset? Was he surprised? Was he angry with Spalletti? Like, do you have any like inside information?
He's not very happy, surely. A little angry because in his opinion he deserved the convocation for Euros, but I am agree with Spalletti and for the hour scoring in Euros for one victories about against Albania and two lost for Switzerland is a nightmare again. It's better for Locatelli to stay at home. better, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. We'll see. Final two questions on the midfield. Pogba, he has a long ban for doping, of course. Will he stay at Juventus, or could Juve release him on a free transfer? What's going to happen with Pogba's contract at Juve?
Paul Pogba, right?
Yes.
Pogba. Oh, Pogba.
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 Yeah.
Okay.
Paul Pogba. Yeah.
Paul Pogba. Okay. Juventus are working in silence on him. I know they want to terminate to finish the contract, and I haven't concrete news now, but I'm sure in this sense will soon begin to arrive news for the end of contract.
Yeah, they're working with the lawyers. And very final question on the midfield. Some of the younger midfielders, Hans Nicolucci Caviglia, Joseph Nonje, are these players on the market?
Nonce is appreciated from Nizza. Juventus have just a business for Nizza. I think Khephren Thuram. I think they could potentially deal for Jean-Clair Todibo. And I know that the sports director of Nizza have talked about his entourage 1 or 2 weeks ago. Also, Monza have asked information for the guys, but Joseph, that is on the market in this moment, would be to join at Nizza in the gun. For Nicolucci Caviglia have many appreciated for many clubs in Italy. Including Venezia, that the rumors more talked about last days, but for Nicolucci and for Barbieri, for Tommaso Barbieri, that is another Juventus young player on loan of Pisa in last year. For both of these players will be the sell is very possible on loan or for another condition, but no concrete news for this moment, my friend.
Well, let's move on to the attack. And the number one player that's been mentioned and been discussed at Juve is Federico Chiesa. What's the state of play with Chiesa? I mean, which clubs are interested? How much do Juve want for him?
Around 25-30 million. Chiesa is on the market because the two parties haven't reached an economic agreement, and for this cause Juventus have opened last days ago to the chance to sell the player on this mercato.
So what does Chiesa want? Does he want to stay at Juve, or does he want a new experience in Premier League?
He would to stay in Juventus. I remember the interview after the victory in Coppa Italia against Atalanta, and he talked about his statements, and he wanted to stay at Juventus. Okay, in that press conference. After 2 months, I know that there aren't offers very very exciting for him. I know that the interest of Bayern Munchen, but Bayern Munchen have transferred Olise to Crystal Palace and are not interested again on Chiesa. The only club that have talked with Juventus was Roma, but he is not convinced to join Roma for 2 reasons: the salary and the goals, the Champions League, because Roma will not do the Champions League this year. Is a different situation. For me is complicated yet, but Chiesa 1 or 2 weeks to join another clubs, in my opinion.
But is it true that Thiago Motta doesn't rate him and Thiago Motta wants him sold? And is that why Juventus want to sell?
I've also read about this story with Thiago Motta, but I have never had confirmation from Juventus side. And I know, honestly, I think it's strange. It's very strange that a professional man like Thiago Motta, that was a greatest players with Inter, with Barcelona in his football career, can judge Chiesa, a strong player as Chiesa, without having seen him in training. In my opinion, for this, I'm sure that Thiago Motta, for the first thing, would be to see Chiesa in the training, and after make a decision, if Juventus in this period don't receive the offer that ask 25-30 millions.
And what about contract extension talks? Is it completely finished between Chiesa and Juve, or is there still a chance that he extends?
Could be a little chance, could be, but I think that if Chiesa hasn't an agreement to today, hasn't an agreement with Juventus, in my opinion, is very difficult to stay.
Maybe Aston Villa, who's been linked, because they're playing the Champions League as well. They're a Premier League side. I mean, maybe that could be an option.
Last year, surely. Last year, I know that Unai Emery have asked Chiesa and have talked with his entourage. This year, I don't know if Aston Villa will search the player again. The player as Chiesa. I have seen that Juventus and Aston Villa are a very very business relationship is very very good. I think that Aston Villa could be a good offer for Chiesa.
For sure. Let's talk about Arek Milik. From what I understand, Juventus plan to sell Milik, right? How much do they want, and is there any interest?
I can confirm this. Milik is on the market, and his entourage has already been told from Juventus. They are working to find a right offer for Juventus and for the player. I know that there is some interest for Premier League, for France. The last clubs have asked the information to Milik. Is Besiktas in Turkey, but I don't know if Milik will accept the destination. For Milik, he would like to stay at Juventus, but Juventus have another plans in mind in this moment.
Okay, Matias Soule, that's the big one this summer after Chiesa. What are Juventus and Thiago Motta's position on Soule? I mean, we've seen lots of reports saying that Juve will consider selling him if they get an offer around 40 million euros. First of all, is this true? And what is Thiago Motta's opinion on Matias Soule? Does he want to keep him?
True for the price. Juventus wants 40 millions for Matias, and in this moment don't consider it another different offers for him, of 40 or more for Mati. Otherwise, with no offers concrete, as the situation of today, Matias will stay here. The supporters today have asked to Matias to stay in at Juventus. No, today is the first day of the
Pre-season.
Esatto, exactly. And many supporters at Continassa asked to Matias this thing. For me, it will be the right choice. I believe in his talent. I would to advise for my little opinion. I want to advise Juventus to keep Soule, House, and Ildiz, the future of Juventus. Okay. For the other question, I think Thiago Motta considered I have a good opinion for Soule. There is last press conference of Motta to start Frosinone Bologna of last year. Motta spent the good words for Soule, and to be, in my opinion, could be the right wing that Juventus to will search to will search now.
Let's talk about Dusan Vlahovic. Do you think he will stay? I mean, or will he stay at Juventus and be the number 9? Or is it more a question of if a big offer comes, they will sell him because he's on a huge salary, lots of, he costs a lot per year, and he hasn't really impressed at Juve, and his Euros were disastrous.
If big offers arrived, almost everyone players is on the market.
Okay.
Even Dusan Vlahovic. I know the negotiations for his renewal have stopped, but it's normal because Juventus are managing at this moment other situations, Chiesa, McKennie, other situations with more priority. And Dusan want to stay at Juve. He talked about him in different interviews done in this year, and Juve otherwise Juve would like to lower the salary, and it will be the thing simple. I think that there will be a lot of professionalism on both sides to find the right solution for this renewal.
Okay. Let's look now at who Juventus could sign now. And the big one, of course, is Teun Koopmeiners of Atalanta. We know that Koopmeiners is Juventus's top target for the summer. Can you tell us what is the state of play with Koopmeiners? First of all, how much do Atalanta want, and how much do Juventus want to pay?
Atalanta at least Atalanta want at least 60 million for him, and doesn't accept swaps in this moment. And this news is very difficult for you because Juventus want to spend the less, a little less, 40-45 millions, but my feelings are very positive this deal, because Juventus have already an agreement with the players for 5 years of contract for 4.5 millions a year. And I know that there will be there will not be, sorry, the simple negotiation, but Juventus and Atalanta have been talking for now for the to find the right solutions, and for me, in my opinion, they will find an agreement at the end of this story. Okay.
Okay, so if Atalanta wants 60, Juventus are looking at the moment at 45 they want to pay. Do you think that maybe they will meet in the middle, maybe like 52, 53 maybe? How high would Juventus go for Koopmeiners? Is there a number that they say, right, we won't go above this number? What do you think?
But I think that Juventus will find the right solution, as I said before, because Juventus in this moment are thinking the sell different players. Two players in this moment very close to join in other teams are Alessandro Sersanti and Mattia Compagnon. That are two youngest of next gen. Last years, the two players are have played with Lecco and Feral Pisalon in Italian Serie B, and there are many other players that could favorite this deal for Juventus. I could think. For example, the sale of Dinhausen or the sale of the Weston McKennie. Juventus are trying to find this solution and for to convince Atalanta with a good offer. Maybe, in my opinion, maybe the two clubs that are talking and are talking about this situation could be to decide on loan on the deal of only cash in 60 million.
Yeah, just a final question on Koopmeiners. Is there any risk of a Premier League or foreign clubs bidding for Koopmeiners and maybe taking him away from Juventus, or do you think that Koopmeiners has said, right, I only want Juventus and that's it?
Juventus in this moment are strong to the agreement that have with the player. Okay, but the situation Calafiori are learning from to me, to our everybody, that is always complicated to compete with the clubs of Premier, because for example Liverpool could decide to spend 60 millions or 70 millions for him, for example Liverpool, but I don't know in this moment if there are one or two clubs in Premier that would be Koopmeiners to join Koopmeiners in concrete way. For this, Juventus today are the clubs more strong to convince the player.
Okay. You mentioned there Calafiori. So let's move on to centre-back position and who Juventus... We know that Thiago Motta wants to sign a centre-back, and Juventus will sign a centre-back this summer. We know that, first of all, Riccardo Calafiori was the first target, that Juventus had been working on that deal for many weeks or months before Euro 2024. Now, I understand, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I understand through people I've spoken to that Juventus kind of had an agreement with Calafiori already before the Euros, and that before the Euros, Bologna valued Calafiori at round about 25, 27 million euros. But then during the Euros, Calafiori had an amazing group stage with Italy, and his value went very high. And of course, then Premier League clubs like Arsenal came interested, and Bologna asking price went up to very high, 50 million or something. Is that how you understand what happened? But the question I have for you is, why did Juventus decide to pull out of this deal? Why did they not agree, right, we will increase our offer, or we will still try to sign this player? What made Juventus decide, right, we're going to stop now? Is it they couldn't afford Calafiori, or they needed to use this money for maybe Koopmeiners? Like, why did Juventus stop with Calafiori?
True about the agreement. Another truth, this is the situation about Bremer. Last month ago, we thought about the possible sell to Bremer, but Bremer will stay at Juventus in this moment. The real truth is that Juventus never made an offer to Bologna for Calafiori. Never. Even though some newspapers in Italy said last May that there was an agreement between the two clubs. Fake news. Juventus never made an offer. I repeat, never made an offer to Bologna for Calafiori. Juventus would have liked to make an offer to Calafiori, okay, for 20-25 millions, not 50. This situation has created because Bologna were a little annoyed by the valuation of 20-25 millions. Juventus would be to have insert for a swap, to create the swap, for example Nicolussi Caviglia, for example Barbieri, for example another player for another players to add 20-25 millions and buy the players. And for Bologna, the situation was completely negative, and they looked elsewhere and played on the Premier League table. Chelsea, Arsenal, Calafiori to join Arsenal for 50 million euros if this is the right price, and to 50 millions was impossible to Juventus and another club in Italy to buy Calafiori. In this moment, I know that the number one substitute is Jean-Clair Todibo from Nizza, but Juventus are following Kivior of Arsenal and Marco Senesi of Bournemouth, and I know that the club appreciated this defense, but in this moment no decision has yet to be made because there are other priorities in this moment.
Right. Let's talk about right wingers. Jadon Sancho and Mason Greenwood have been the two main names. What's the situation with Sancho and Greenwood? Could you let us know what is there any truth to Mason Greenwood at all?
Only interest, my friend. Never made never do two offers of Manchester United. With Manchester, Juventus are talking about Sancho. This is the real news. Is in this moment is a little complicated for not more for the request of Manchester. Manchester, I know that want to decide the dossier Sancho within the 50 or the 16 July for the pre-season. Okay, and for his earns. His earns is corresponding to 2015 K, Mila, non mi viene in inglese, scusami,
Okay.
eh,
No, you
250.000.
250,000. Okay.
50,000, sorry,
Mm.
to earn 2 weeks. Okay,
Okay.
around 1 million in 1 month.
Yeah.
12 millions is too expensive for every squad, every club in Italy. Juventus would be to convince Sancho for to earn 5 maximum 5 millions to 2 year, the same as of Douglas Luiz, for example. And in my opinion, in this moment is a little complicated. Also, Chiesa doesn't leave Juventus in this moment. Juventus, I know that are following other right wings, for example, Zegrova, for example, Riquelme from Atletico Madrid, but Roma is ahead in this moment. And there is the plan B. If will not arrive Sancho or another right wings, I think Juventus to keep Matias Soule.
Well, I was just going to ask you about Alec. I mean, we've heard of Alexis Salamakers as well. And do you think that Juve will sign a right winger even if Sule stays?
No contacts for Salamakers in this moment with Milan and with his agents, but for the price, Milan ask around 10 millions. 9-10 millions maximum. I think that could be a good option for next month, for August, if Juventus if Juventus will to have a need a right wing, but in this moment no offers for him.
Okay. And what will do you think Juventus will try to sign a right winger even if Sule stays? Or do you think that it depends on Chiesa or Sule leaving?
I think that depends about Chiesa, about
Okay.
the Chiesa's future.
Okay.
Sule could be a right option, not only for right wings, for right winger, sorry, but he could play in other position. For example, I will see very well Sule behind the striker as trequartista. If Motta want to play with 4-2-3-1 in on the field.
Well, let's move up the pitch to the striker. And Moise Ken is now joined Fiorentina. Milik, as we've discussed, he's for sale. So Juve need another striker. There's a couple of names being linked, and you can let me know if there's anything to them. I mean, Alvaro Morata, we know he's been close to Milan. Is there a possible return to Juve on the cards?
No, I don't think Morata is a good idea in this moment. Last year, the scenario about Morata was to a possible leave of Chiesa, and the scenario was out Chiesa in Morata. This year, no. This isn't the same scenario, and Morata is very close to join at Milan. I can confirm this news. But the truth is I haven't concrete news on the striker in this moment. I would wait a few more weeks. Maybe Juventus could be created the right chance with a striker that nobody talk this moment today.
Well, Gudmundsson, you mentioned earlier. Can we talk a little bit about him? What do you think is going to happen there? Because there's lots of teams wanting him.
I think as April or May, I think the same Juventus could be make a good offer for Gudmundsson. But Gudmundsson, Juventus have talked about Genoa, about his agents. Gudmundsson is represented to brothers Giuffrida in Italy, okay, as agents. But the player have could be out of Genoa for the right price, 30 million, 35 millions. Could be the plan B, only if Koopmeiners will not arrive, because the right choice in this moment is Teun Koopmeiners for
Okay.
the role.
Okay.
So they see Gudmundsson as the number 10, or the trequartista, central trequartista, rather than as an attacker or as a winger. What about Kalimwendo of Rennes? Is there anything in the reports linking Motta to Kalimwendo, because they worked together at PSG, if I'm not mistaken? Is there any reports there?
No, I haven't any concrete news about this player. I could add Mateta of Crystal Palace, for example. I know that Mateta was very appreciated by Cristiano Giuntoli Napoli in 2 or 3 years ago, and the French journal L'Equipe talked about the possible substitute of Osimhen, for example. The name is the same, Mateta, but these players have, I think, about Kalimwendo, have the high price in this moment. For this, Juventus have other priority for the midfield, Koopmeiners, for the right winger, for the terzino, mi viene.
Fullback, terzino's fullback in
bravissimo,
English.
fullback, and another player. But the strikers, for me, will talk to concrete news, to have to concrete news in the month of August.
Okay, and talking about the terzini, the fullbacks, Juventus are moving to a back four under Thiago Motta, and the fullback positions have been a weakness for many years at Juve. So far, Juve haven't been linked to many fullbacks. The main one was Giovanni Di Lorenzo, so we'll start with him. Is the interest in Di Lorenzo finished now after his... he was a disaster at Euro 2024. Is that over now, Di Lorenzo?
Di Lorenzo will stay in Napoli, and today there was the communication official of Napoli about his socials that announced him, and for Di Lorenzo the price was 30 millions. Very complicated, in my opinion. Yes, I heard the name of Jan Couto, the name of Thiago Santos, and other many players, but the real news of these days is that Thiago Motta will evaluate Nicolò Savona. Nicolò Savona, for to better know the guy, was the fullback at Juventus Next Gen last year, and he can play for fullback in 3-5-2, and could be the defense in the same module. And but I think that Thiago Motta could be Thiago Motta could transformate Nicolò Savona in the new Riccardo Calafiori. Could be.
Well, we hope that happens. We really hope that happens. Okay, that's very interesting. Just finally, before we're nearly finished now, thank you so much again, Mirko, for today. Adrien Rabiot, his contract has expired, so he's now not a Juventus player anymore. But Rabiot has said that he's not ruling out staying at Juve, and that he will decide after Euro 2024. He said that last week. Now, of course, France are out of Euro 2024. They lost to Spain in the semi-final with Rabiot being embarrassed a little bit for that amazing goal from the 16-year-old Lamine Yamal. Is there any chance that Rabiot could still sign a new contract at Juve and stay again, or do you think that it's now finished for Rabiot at Juve?
I wrote today about the situation of Rabiot. I know that he will speak with Juventus in next hours, and he want to continue negotiations for the renewal. But now Rabiot is a free agent. He is not a Juventus player, and Juventus no longer considering him a priority. And for me, the end of story, he will choose another club. For my opinion, because Juventus have sent the best offer to him, 7.5 million for 3 years until 2026 with option for 2027. Is the best option with Decreto Crescita, with the best option in that Juventus could be guaranteed to Rabiot in this moment. But the situation uncertain is designed to decide at the end of Euros slowly the situation. Behind Juventus have by the two players, Douglas Luiz and Khephren Thuram. Maybe arrive Teun Koopmeiners or another midfield. There are Miretti, Fagioli, Locatelli, and other players, because it's very complicated that Rabiot could be staying in Juventus. And this morning I've verified the situation about Juventus and Rabiot, and I can tell from you, for the friend of podcast, because if Rabiot will accept the offer of Juventus, he will communicate to Juventus to stay in Turin also next year. I'm not sure that the offer will be the same. 7 million for 2 years with an option of the third. For me, I'm surely that the offer will be low, very low about today.
Okay.
Yeah,
very interesting. Where can everybody read that that's listening? That's on tutojuve.com, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. And my final question, and then Nima will just give one final question himself.
Last question?
Yeah, last question from me. Then Nima has one last question as well. So some very unlikely names here. I'll run through them. You tell me if there's anything in them. Xavi Simons, Kvicha Kvaratskhelia, I know the answer to that one, and Thomas Suslov. Is there anything in these three players?
No, only Football Manager, my friend. For Xavi Simons, only Football Manager. For Kvicha Kvaratskhelia, FC24 or another players. And Thomas Suslov could be for the price, for the low price. Could be appreciated to club, but no. I know that in other clubs, for example, Atalanta, have asked information for Suslov. I've interested, I believe, Lazio, but Juventus no in this moment.
Right. So I just got one question about the next gen team. It's produced quite a few exciting players in the last few years, but I wanted to ask you which players that are not famous yet should fans look out for? Sorry, who will be the next Kenan Yildiz, Matias Soule, Barrenechea?
For now, it's interesting as question, Nima. For me, Luis Asa. Luis Sasa have played with Juventus Next Gen last year. He's one of the most bravos talent in Italy under 19 that have that won the Euro trophies against Portugal last year. But I don't know if Asa will to stay in Juventus. I don't know, because there are the situation complicated with this renewal, and Asa have appreciating about many clubs in Serie A and Serie B. But I want to reply Vasily Azic. Vasily Azic is the new Juventus transfer. He's arrived to FK Budućnost, and I think that Azic that he comes in next gen to next month to arrive soon in first team, and I believe in his talent. I reply you with Vasily Azic and Luis Sasa.
That's great. Thank you so much, Grande Mircone, for joining us. Really appreciate that. That was really brilliant. We will tag you, of course, on social media, but if you want to follow Mirko on Twitter, it's @_Morik92_ on Twitter and Morik92 on Instagram. You can follow all his work on Tutto Juve and listen to him on Radio Bianconera. But before we let you go, Mirko, is there any news coming up, any story you want to share that you can recommend? Then please do so, and we'll for our listeners.
Absolutely, my friend. I thank you for your invitation, for to talk with you in this hour. Is very hot question. It's very complicated to speak me in English, but I hope that my English is a little good for this interview.
It's been fantastic. It's been fantastic.
No, you did an amazing job, Mirko, and I think definitely you should. You're very well known with the Italian audience, and you're growing very much with the English audience. I think that you're ready to speak more, do more stuff in English.
Absolutely.
I learned the English for 2 reasons, but the main reason is to speak better with girls. And I know the English is the language universal. Okay, I speak well French, Spanish, but with English I want to conquer the world of girl. Okay.
Oh right, you're just like Romeo. Romeo says the same thing. I want to learn English so I can speak to girls. Yeah, that's Romeo Agresti.
Romeo Agresti after which beers? 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
No, amazing.
Thank you so much, Mirko, once again. We'll be tagging him in our socials and everywhere. Thank you, everyone, for listening. We'll be back tomorrow, where I did an interview, a profile deep dive interview with an Iranian journalist on Mehdi Taremi and what kind of player he is and his background. Make sure to check that out. That'll be out tomorrow. But until next time.
And also a profile on Thuram. We've done a profile on Thuram.
We published this before. We'll publish this before the interview with Mirko. It should be out with Jonathan Johnson, a deep dive. But thank you so much again, Mirko. Thank you, everyone else, for listening. We'll be back next time. Until next time, take care of yourselves and each other. Ciao, ciao.